Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and today I just want to take a look at the new 3-star units. I haven't looked at these yet. I slept right after the announcement and these weren't out yet. So let's just take a look and see what their abilities are. I'm really hoping they're good, the real problem with 3 stars is their base stats are just so low. It makes it so difficult for them to do anything. They either don't have enough attack stats to kill, or they die to everything. And pretty much all of them die to everything unless there's somebody like Arrowell, right? Or Pylus or Dora, somebody with a spec change that got really defensive. So let's take a look at this. So we have Junie. Junie is a fire warrior, and I will be building all of them, but the one dude, I think. Don't like that dude. Hopefully his skill set sucks. He looks so boring to me. Junie, I like the color of her hair and the eye makeup style stuff and the markings. So cool. Okay, so she is a fire warrior, and these are all 3 stars, of course. So attacks the enemy with a club and has a 60% chance, up to 75%, to dispel a buff. When the caster has perception, effect chance up to 100%. So Soulburn, effect chance to 100% and dispels 2 buffs. The one thing I will mention, I dislike this Soulburn a lot. I really think anything to do with effect chance for a Soulburn, especially on a skill 1 that's not like make or break the entire game, I think it should be ignores ER instead, especially since if she has perception, and the idea behind characters that have stuff like this is they generally have perception. This just feels like an absolute waste. But let's read the rest here. So at the start of the first battle, gains 20 fighting spirit. Caster receives 20% up to 30% of damage suffered by the ally in the back row. Okay, so one of these protectors as a warrior, which is kind of interesting. And when an enemy revives, gains 40 fighting spirit and grants perception to the caster for 2 turns. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Interesting, and it's once every 2 turns. So basically, you can have it up all the time if you kill somebody every 2 turns, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. When somebody dies, it's when an enemy. Yeah, when an enemy. I was hoping it was like when somebody on your team dies too. So interesting passive, not so powerful so far. And club swing attacks all enemies by swinging a club and has a 75% chance up to 100% after stigma, each to decrease defense and make them unable to be buffed for 2 turns, and decreases buff duration of all allies by 2 turns. This is a really interesting kit from a warrior. Not meant to do damage by the looks of things. She is super protective. She has dispels. She has reduction in debuffs on your team. She has defense down. And she has weird stuff. This is an interesting kit. But all in all, I feel like it's not really going to do much. Interesting. Okay, so that let's rate these out of 10. I would rate that like we'll give 2 ratings. A fun and interesting skill set that I think is interesting, and a usefulness. So on an interesting skill set, I think this is like an 8. I really enjoy this style. This looks really fun. I like the idea behind it. And also stuff like she's known for her belligerence and hates losing. She will go down swinging. Although that said, lore-wise, if she hates losing, why does she get Wicked Instinct when she's winning? I feel like she should get it when she's losing, not when she's winning. Okay, we're bringing the lore down to a 6. And as for usability, I would say like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. Maybe I'm misrepresenting that, but that's just my initial thoughts. Talia, this is a guy I'm likely not to build. He looked super boring. He's an ice warrior as well. There's so many warriors in this game. It's wild. So 40% chance up to 60% chance to provoke. And when attacked, has a 30% chance up to 40% to counterattack after using a basic skill. When fighting spirit is full, consume all fighting spirit to increase combat readiness of the caster by 100%. Okay, that's kind of cool. And this attacks the enemy with full power and increases defense of the caster for 2 turns. When the target is inflicted with provoke, increases damage dealt. Interesting. So, another pretty interesting skill set. Oh, he's Talia's sister as well, or brother. Another interesting one. So noticeably, he doesn't scale with defense. He has like defense buffs, and he also has counterattacking here. But he doesn't really have anything too special. So as for flavor wise, maybe a 5. It's a pretty boring set. I do like the idea of getting an extra turn to like combo punch him in the face. That's really cool. Maybe that brings it up to a 6. As for usability, I don't see this guy being used. 2. Because the thing is, he's a 3-star, right? This is the kind of skill set where if you have good damage and multipliers and stats, yeah, this might be good. But as somebody who, you know, if they have defense down and provoke and you burn it, you might do half damage to an enemy. Probably unlikely to be used. One thing to note too is units like warriors are especially poor for 3-stars just because of their base stats. And units like mages are tough as well because they're just paper. Units like knights usually do pretty well because of their innate defenses too. So Lilka, is that her name? Yeah, Lilka, that's pretty cool. So what does she do? So attacks the enemy with a 50% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. 2 turns is pretty sick. And something like this is okay. So this brings it from a 50% to 100%. I think that's fine for 10 souls. But 75 to 100 when she already had a chance for 100 on the first unit we looked at, that's not so good for me. So this is a fine soul burn. Obviously I would prefer ignores ER. So technical support is her passive, increases the attack of the caster and the ally with the highest attack except for the caster for 2 turns. And we don't have their base stats here, so something that... Wait, this isn't a passive, that's an ability. Something like this, which is buffing and CR boosting, is highly dependent on her speed, right? But this is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool buff. When combat readiness of the ally with the highest attack except for the caster is 35% or less. Okay, that's really cool. I like that idea. It's still only 50% though. And you have to imagine if it's less than 35%, that's never going to give a full turn, right? Interesting. So ace in the hole as well. Attacks the enemy with a grenade with a 75% chance up to 100 each to decrease attack and speed. The target is of the ice element. Increases speed of the allies. Okay. She must have been earth then, right? Yeah, she's earth. Interesting skill set. This one I like because decreasing attack and speed could be pretty insane. It's only 1 target though. So you're like neutering 1 target. And who are the ice units you're hitting, right? Like you're hitting Lua, who you're not going to be hitting, obviously. You're hitting Chu, who's just going to counter killer. Who are the other ice units? Those 2 are just so dominant. Piera as well. But not Piera. Arya? But not Arya. Yeah, so the idea behind the skill, I like this, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I can't think of many other ice units I see regularly. Like, obviously, people like Crow for RTA, and I'm sure there's other RTA units I don't really know about, and I'm just blanking right now, but interesting, but I don't think that's going to be too great, especially since, like, there's no dispel here, right? Like, you're just gonna hit immunity with all the people buffing immunity and self-immunity and... Interesting. Okay. I would give this like a 6 for lore, maybe? What does this say? Lilka shows absolute loyalty to Pierre, the only person to ever acknowledge Lilka's talents. Though Lilka may seem quiet and clumsy, she turns into a completely different person. Interesting. So why... Okay. She gets a dock for lore. So she looks up to Pierre and absolute loyalty. Yet, she does extra things versus Pierre. That's not cool. I feel like she'd be trying to protect Pierre, which would mean she'd do extra special stuff versus Earth units to try to protect her. I don't know. I'm seeing some lore gaps here. And I don't see her too useful either. Again, depending on her base speed, if she's like randomly like 129 base speed, sure, you know, she's going to be good, but unlikely. So Talia here, with the silver tongue and sharp wit, she knows all the ins and outs of everything going on within the Khan Empire. She may be a human, but even the Suans, the Empire, want a piece of her knowledge. So she's a thief that's highly knowledgeable? Come on, your lore is going down. Let's see what she does. She's got to do something cool. So, ready to pounce, 50% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. Do note there's no soul burn here. So, there's going to be a soul burn down there. Probably damage dealt or something weird like that. Ignore ZR. Sick. Okay. Let's see. Casual cheer. Grants immunity to an ally and the caster for 2 turns, and grants a berry to all allies for 2 turns. Berry strength increases proportionate to the caster's attack. Pretty sick. That's a cool ability. Unfortunately, it doesn't give an extra turn, which is pretty important in this game. And let's see, break apart. Attacks. See, this is cool. Okay, here we go. So they want a piece of her knowledge, and she's buffing people. She's vital pointing. She's ignoring ER because she knows so much about them. Cool. Attacks the enemy's vital point with an 85% up to 100% each to dispel debuffs and make them unably buffed for 2 turns and can't be counterattacked. Okay, lore-wise, 10 out of 10. This is perfect. Lines in with this. I love it. Everything she has is about manipulating weaknesses and buffing strengths and being able to like attack without triggering a counterattack. I know you don't care about this stuff, but I do. Lore's important. As for usefulness, not great, right? This is like a single target ability that takes 20 souls to ignore Yar that people do AoE and then get another turn after. But I'll definitely try her out because I think she's cute. Looks fun. I will definitely try her out. I don't think she's too great, though, of course. None of these are expected to. This is the one I would expect to be good because they are a mage and they look like they focused on him a lot, just lore-wise. So, the commander of the Shadow Elves combat unit who resides in the Recluse's Forest. He is Arya's only brother and the last of her remaining family. Behind his cold guise lies a sorrowful heart laden with the guilt of losing everybody else in his family. Dear Lord. Shadow tracking. So, attacks the enemy, has a 50% chance to burn for 2 turns. Burn doesn't fit the theme, buddy. Your sisters and ice unit, no burning, okay? Soul burn, 10 soul, effect chance up to 100. That's fine as well. But like spending 10 souls to land a burn is just so wild, right? Like, who in their right mind is going to do that unless you have like no other option? Belated boom, after attacking, increases attack and effectiveness of the caster by 2.5%, up to 5%. Can stack up to 10 times. So this can increase his attack and effectiveness by 50%. Which would be especially good if he could take extra turns like an RNL or something like that. But he is a mage. And then releases mana to attack all enemies with a 75% up to 100%, each to make them unhealable and inflict burns for 2 turns. So, decent idea for this character. I think lore-wise, so he's leaden with guilt of losing everybody else in his family, so he wants to watch everybody burn? Maybe that makes sense. And he is a mage too, because you can still do dark burn, which he's definitely dark burning. Lore-wise, 5? Useful-wise, maybe less than that? This is really cool, but you know how long it's going to take to stack that? There's no extra turn. Likely he's going to be like 108 speed. He's going to have no defenses. He has no protection. He'll use this and die. Interesting. Okay, so that's all I wanted to look at today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Really wish they were a little bit better. They weren't. but I wish they were. And hopefully their stats bring them up a notch. And I guess the cool thing about these is a lot of these characters look like they'll be potentially good for specialty changes whenever they get them. But I would really prefer they just release 3 stars good instead of needing a specialty change to be able to shine, right? Because the point about 3 stars is adding accessible units that impact the game in some way and allow you to do things that you otherwise wouldn't. So I think they missed the mark here. I like the characters, I like the lore behind them all. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.